get to know Utah. Lynne Roberts, the head coach, here to help us do it. Locked On Women's Basketball starts now.
Ogunbowale for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm your host, Howard Megdal, thanking you for making us your first listen every day. Monday through Friday, we talk past, present, future women's basketball. Saturday is WNBA draft, and it is not just me, it is the entire team over at thenexthoops.com, where we have over 100 reported pieces every single month on the women's game. The great Isabel Rodriguez will be out in Salt Lake City this weekend doing more of the same. We cover it. Make sure you support $9 a month, $72 a year for the reporting on women's basketball we have always wanted. And boy, we've had a lot of reporting about Utah. And Lynne Roberts, your program, we talked about getting nerdy and we're going to get into it, but it's first and foremost so much fun to watch. I'm just wondering, you were a gunner as a player, as I understand it.
I was.
How much would you have wanted as Lynne Roberts, the player, to be in this system and play for yourself?
I don't know if I want to play for myself. I've been too much me, but yeah, it's a fun system, and you know, it's predicated on shot selection, shot quality versus, you know, how many did I make, because shot quality is a direct correlation with shot making. So if we're taking great shots, you know, our skill development, we shoot a ton in practice. I was just planning practice for tomorrow, and we're, you know, we get up hundreds a day in practice fast. So yeah, it would have been fun. It's a fun system where you have the green light. If it's a great shot, you can take it at any time. Yeah.
I mean, it shows. And again, so segment one, we're going to get into some of the mechanics of how you do it. Segment two, I want to talk more about how you got here. But just to like set the scene, and I will admit, I'm on the East Coast, so it requires staying up late in order to be able to see you guys play. Worth it. Worth it. I have given up sleep, untold amount of sleep.
I appreciate that, Howard. I appreciate that.
It is. You know, the net result is a 25-4 record, but it goes beyond that. You know, you can get caught up in points per game because you guys are top 50 in pace, but it's not just that. It's points per 100 possessions. Yeah. You are fourth in the country, 113 points per 100 possessions. So you guys are going out there day in and day out and scoring on, again, some of the best defenses in the country. You know, just the idea that you're scoring a lot is one thing, but being able to do it in the Pac-12, where there's Stanford, where there's USC and the type of defense that Lindsey Gottlieb's team plays, and Corey Close and UCLA, like it's not an easy place to do it. And I guess I just wonder, you come to Utah in 2015, you're looking at what this program can be. How much does this year, this 25-4 year with so many offensive fireworks, come close to like the ideal of what you were looking to build here?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think, you know, when I took this job 8 years ago, it was pretty flatline. And I always joke that my timing of taking over a program in the Pac-12 was bad. You know, since 2013, we've had 6 different teams in the Final Four. You know, of course, there's always Stanford, who always manages to be, you know, a top 5 team in the country, regardless of who's on their roster. It's a tough league. And, you know, there is a lot of East Coast, you know, a lot of people on the East Coast, and most of the media is out there, you know, are not familiar with how good this league is. I mean, it is just ridiculous and competitive, and the coaching is elite. So it is not just, oh, we've got better talent so we can roll the ball out and expect to win. You've got to prepare, you've got to scout, your team has to put the work in on that end. So when I took the job 8 years ago, I saw the potential here. You know, Salt Lake City is an incredible city. I'm from California. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know much about it when they called. I mean, I'd been here, but not really been here. And We love it here, and it's kind of the best kept secret in the country. Although the flocks of Texans and Californians and everybody moving here has changed that, but it's awesome. But so I saw the potential. Salt Lake City is a basketball town, Majerus and all those guys, and the Utah Jazz and the University of Utah is the only show in town when it comes to college sports. And so, it's 2 million people. There's an opportunity here. But I knew it was going to be hard, and it has been hard, right? Anything new, you do something for the first time, there's going to be challenging. People are going to call you crazy for saying, hey, we can get 10,000 fans here and we can win a Pac-12 championship. Mm-hmm. My first couple of years, you kind of get patted on the head like, that's cute. That's cute that you think that. And that just, motivates me. But to your point, the season we've had, we shared the Pac-12 championship with Stanford. We're a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament this week. So we have gotten to a point where I knew was possible, but, I don't know that very many other people shared in my belief through the process.
It's interesting to me. Again, you talk about the year you have this year. Obviously, you jump from last season, making the tournament. I think we were 21-12 last year, if memory serves. And you had a quote, and it jumped out at me. I remember at the time it happened. And then I noticed when I was researching, getting ahead for the show, it's in graph 1 of your bio now, right on the site. And you said, it is time for us to pivot to being great. This has clearly been your message from media day on through. Tell me where that comes from. Tell me why, in your mind, that was where you guys were at. Because clearly you've gotten there. Yeah.
I think, you got to know your team. And last year we were so young. We started 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores. And we don't have a single senior on this year's team, which is kind of crazy. But just, the locker room, the vibe of where you're at. And also, you put things out there, like make a statement as this is what we're intending to do, and state your intentions. Like that's a big thing for me. Like state your intentions. Then you have a target. And I did not want to, and I do not want to live in I can keep my job because we're good enough. Mm-hmm. I'm not in this for that. I'm too competitive. I'm too crazy. Like all of us coaches are. That's not what I want. That's not why I came here, to be good enough. And everywhere I've been, we've done things that have never been done in their program's history. I love doing things that people say you can't do. I think as being raised with older brothers that have told me, no, you can't. It's just in my wiring. And so I just sensed that we were ready. And I've told this story many times, but last year, we had a great tournament run. We lost in the Pac-12 championship to Stanford. And then we go down to Texas. They were the 2 seed in Austin, and we were the 7 seed. We play Arkansas in the first round and got a good solid win, won by 20 something. And then we played Texas at Texas, and they beat us, and they were better. And, they had all their crowd, and we got beat. And I went into the locker room to try to kind of talk to the team and pump them up and, give them a little perspective on what we'd achieved being so young and blah, blah, blah. And they were having none of it. And they looked like their dogs had died and the world was coming to an end. They were pissed off, for lack of a better. And, I walked out of there feeling a little dejected because I couldn't motivate them as a coach. It's like, come on, guys. The ego of like, come on, you're not even going to give me a head nod. But also more so walking out of there thinking, wow, that's good. These guys, their heads are in the right place. And, so yeah, it was just kind of, it was time. Like, let's stop talking about it, hoping about it. Let's start doing it.
My question on the other side of it is you scheduled like you were ready to take that next step forward. And, people may overlook it, Southeastern Louisiana as an early win, but you guys beat them by 37. That's a team that took LSU down to the final minute. Mm-hmm. You go out and get a win over Alabama's in the field. You get a win over Mississippi's in the field. Was there a moment early on in the non-conference schedule where you said, I'm seeing it. It's not just, I know they're ready to do it off the court, but, clearly it's coming together the way I wanted it to.
Yeah. And we did schedule that way, knowing that I thought we were ready. And even if we had lost a couple of those games, it was going to help us. Because those are good teams that you mentioned. And those are not quote unquote bad losses. I think when I first thought, okay, we've got something, is the Ole Miss game. So we were in a tournament, one of those offsite. We were in the Bahamas and we played Alabama and it was close and we beat them and that was a great win. And then we played Ole Miss 2 days later and they came to play. They came at us and it was a great game. It was one of those games where it's unfortunate a team had to lose because both teams just emptied the tank and left it all out there. And we were down with a minute to go. We came back and won. And we took Ole Miss's best shot and beat them. And they could have easily won that game too. They're very good. But after that game, I thought, okay, we might have something here. And then we're on a roll from then on.
Coach Joe's always going to bring it her teams.
Oh yeah. She was ready, man. She had them ready.
No question about it. So we'll get into some of the personnel who have made this great and about your journey as well, coming up in segment 2. First, though, want to let people know about a brand new sponsor, and it's called Ultimate NBA GM, Ultimate Pro Basketball GM. If you've ever dreamed of becoming an NBA GM and managing your basketball franchise, this is the chance for that dream to come true. Manage every strategic aspect of your team, play through the season, and lead your team to glory. You can hire the right coaches and assistants, trade for the right players, make draft picks, and navigate a franchise even through free agency, all the ups and downs of the season. All this in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Pro Basketball GM is completely free and playable online. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. Now, Locked On women's basketball listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when you use the promo code Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. Download the game. Just go to probasketballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up on the app stores. That's probasketballgm.com. And if you do what I'll do, we're going to let them know WNBA GM would also be something that we ought to have there as well. So let's talk about Allisa Pili. And it's a weird thing to say how much you enjoy this, but I like to go to her shot charts and just see where she's getting her shots. Because you guys play fast. You guys are doing this against elite defenses all season. But this year, she gets 51.6% of her shots right at the rim, another 26.7 in the paint, and then it's just a sea of blue in the mid-range. She's taken one shot from one quadrant all season in the mid-range, 7, 6, and 7, basically nothing. And obviously you take her back out to the three-point line, and she's deadly from beyond the arc. I know this dovetails with your philosophy. Is that kind of the best case scenario for what you could have hoped? Or do you think there's even another level for her to reach at the offensive end in terms of shot selection?
Yeah, she has been great. And when we got her, and why I was so excited about the potential of getting her is because of her, I've described her all season as kind of a unicorn. She's so unique. She's so powerful. We list her at 6'2". That's being generous. She's 6 foot 6'1", but so she's not as tall as those that are defending her, but she's more powerful and stronger. And then, her 3-point shooting ability has come on, but that's development. We shoot so many to where she's really confident in that. But going into the NCAA tournament, she was in our last 10 games, 11 for 15 from the three at the top of the key. That's pretty good. It's pretty good for your center. So those are incredible shots. So yeah, I think with like you said, that dovetails what we're trying to do offensively. We have a whole section on the floor that we call a death shot. You cannot take those shots unless there's 1 second left on the shot clock, kind of thing. An air horn goes off in practice if you shoot it. And so by the end of the season, no one's taking them. And we're big, and we can get into this, but we're big on shot selection for us and our opponent. We graph it, we chart it, we show them after the games. And the players now, they can see why, the method to the madness of why, yes, maybe you can make 3 out of 10 of those. Like, yes, you could, maybe 4, but it's only worth 2. And you're going to make 6 or 7 of those out of 10 around the basket. and 3 or 4 out of those at 3-point, and those are worth more. So it's simple math. It really is. And Allisa has played to that. And to your question of, do I think there's more to her? Absolutely. You know, she'll be a WNBA player, but she's not going to be a center. And so her guard skills, we need to continue getting better at that. But she's got just huge hands. I mean, she can just pick up the ball when she shoots a free throw, like she dribbles it and catches it in her hand while she's doing it. I mean, just stuff you don't see in women's college basketball very often. So I think that's going to help her in her skill development, but she can really pass, catch. So just working on her perimeter attacks and skill that way, that'll be this offseason.
I think you may have answered my next question, which is that she has been, and this is even before she got there, a terrific rebounder despite her size. You know, you talk about the players who are defending her and who she's defending, but she has consistently outperformed in that metric. Is that it? Is it just her enormous hands?
And strength. Yeah, and strength. You know, she can, you know, we've got, like everybody else, we've got a group of practice guys that are, you know, college men that played high level high school, or some even played like NAI and stuff. But these are big boys, 220, 30, 40 pounds. And they kind of get the wide-eyed look when she pushes them to post up or pushes them to box out. She's just so powerful and strong. You cannot move her. And then, you know, she's got great timing and instincts, and then the big mitts that can catch anything.
Yeah, she's built for the W. And I know we talked a little bit about this during your press conference last week, about the fact that I hear from W coaches who are looking at the offense you're running. So obviously it puts people in a position to be able to play at that next level. That's why, and this might be a whole other podcast, why I thought Megan Huff should have gotten more of an opportunity to play in the league. I know she got brief periods of time, but I absolutely think she's a WNBA level player.
She is.
And I hope she gets another chance, quite frankly. But yeah, I mean, clearly that's a place where she can go. When you were talking to Allisa about coming to Utah, is that part of the conversation for you guys? And generally speaking, is that part of your thinking about the players you develop at Utah?
Yeah, I think we play a style that fits to strengths, and there is so much movement and ball movement. It's not stand around and watch somebody. We're not built for that. Like, it's not, I'm going to, space it out and one person's going to create their own shot. We're going to space you out and move you, and we're going to create shots for each other. It's been effective. But yeah, I think it does, someone like Allisa, when we recruited her, I told her, this is how I see it playing out. Like, this is what I think you could do here, but you've got to do your part. You've got to get in better condition, and you've got to take care of your body better, and you've got to kind of change how you move. And to her credit, she has completely bought into that, and still gets up early and works with our strength coach. And, she has, and when you, as a player, when you see success and you see it working, it makes it easier when that alarm goes off in the morning.
Yeah, no doubt. And she has seen it. And to that work with your strength coach, last year she was at 40% right around the rim. This year it's 66.8. Even though she's taking a lot more of those shots. So she's doing it in volume too. So you are seeing that jump. And then, like you said, it's such a young team, which is such a scary thing, I'm sure, for your opponents to see when you go 25-4, looking to bring everyone back. But Gianna Kneepkens is just, again, she's a handful of free throws away from going 50, 40, 90 for you this year. And 42% from three on 5.4 attempts, just a sophomore. Take me through what has allowed her to take a jump. I mean, oh my God, she's at 60% from two.
I know she's a stud. And I think it's helped her with Allisa. To have Allisa, it's taken some pressure off of her just as a sophomore, because she is still a puppy. She's handled it this year really well. She was Pac-12 freshman of the year last year, the only freshman on the all-conference team. So a lot of eyes on her this year. Was that a fluke? Was it, whatever? She's done a tremendous job. I think what separates her, what makes her different, is she is the most coachable kid. And she just came up into my office 20 minutes ago. Today's our day off. sweaty because she had just gotten up her 500 threes. Her work ethic is unbelievable. She's someone that we have had to throughout the season monitor so that she does get rest, so that she's not overtraining and not doing too much. But she wants to be elite, but she's the most humble, down-to-earth kid you can imagine, drinks milk at dinner, truly. And just a good kid, comes from a great family. Work ethic is everything. And she's just kind of understated in her demeanor. So she doesn't get a lot of the attention that way, but I think she likes it that way. She doesn't care about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't care about awards. She doesn't care. She just wants to win and be as good as she can be. So she's kind of old school that way.
She may have to make peace with more attention as her career progresses.
No doubt.
Unfortunately, people like me are going to keep talking about her. So
that's good.
We'll have to work on that together. Well, so I want to talk big picture with you. But first, I need to tell people about Built Bar, and Built Bar has a March Madness bracket. We know you have a favorite Built Bar or Puff, and now's your time to make it count. So you can go to builtmarchmadness.com to vote for your favorites. Now, you guys who listen know I'll be voting for the cookie dough puff. It's the thing that's going to allow me to get through Saturday. There's going to be a doubleheader. I'm going to drive down to Villanova, going to be covering multiple games, going to be eating those because they have only 8 grams of sugar, 17 grams net protein. It will allow me to edit all of our incredible team all over the country. So make sure you go vote for that bar. But more to the point, make sure you enter, because 50 Locked On listeners are going to get a free box of Built Bars. One Locked On fan would get a 12-month subscription to Built. And then you have the best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door, instead of the way we do it in our house, where my wife says, oh my God, we're out of Built Bars, and I go order it for us. So you got to go get these protein bars. Absolutely the best, 100% real chocolate, packed with protein. BuiltMarchMadness.com, and tell them Grandma Myrna sent you. So it's easy sometimes, I think, when teams have their moments and coaches have their moments, for the general public to miss out everything that's led up to this. And I don't want that to go unnoticed. I don't want people to miss the fact that you went to Pacific, and you took Pacific on through a conference change. You won Coach of the Year award, thus in 2 different conferences along the way. You have built programs. Pacific, before that, Chico State took Chico State to the Division II Final Four, if memory serves, right? I mean, this is something that has been a long time coming to this moment. And I guess I wonder what it's been like for you personally here to see that kind of attention, for people to now begin to understand what you have brought to the table here for several decades of excellence in this profession.
Well, I appreciate that, Howard. It makes me uncomfortable to talk about myself. It's not my forte. I think I've always been, I'm a farmer's daughter, and my mom was a school teacher. I've had an incredibly blessed life, but I've had to work for everything I've gotten. And I'm grateful for that. And, I played Division II basketball, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. Like, kids get caught up in, oh, it's got to be Division I. No, it doesn't. And, it's just all about the good stuff. But I've worked for everything I've gotten. Nothing's been handed to me. And I've always been given opportunities, maybe when I was too young to get them. When I took Chico State over, I was 25. When I got the Pacific job, I was 29. I was the youngest Division I head coach in the country. I thought I was ready. I'm sure I probably wasn't. But I've been very blessed to been given opportunities to learn, to grow, to develop, to fail. And so I've learned by doing. And there is something gratifying, and this is what, again, drives me, of doing things that have never been done. Doing things when people say you can't do them. Creating something out of something that isn't there. Like, that is what drives me. And I love the underdog role. And I know we're shifting now into not being an underdog, but we're still not talked about. We're still not respected. like the other teams that would be in our league if they were 25-4 and Pac-12 champs and all that stuff. But I don't care. Like all that, I don't need that to motivate me. I don't need that to validate what we're doing. That's not what's ever motivated me, is other people's opinion, or it's quite the contrary. So that's just kind of how I am wired. And, you know, I think leadership is a kind of a yin yang, one of confidence. You've got to be really confident in who you are and what you think it takes. And, you know, it being turning a program around, what you need to do. But I also think you have an equal dose of humility, of learning, of listening, of, you know, looking in the mirror and saying, okay, at the end of the day, this is on me. How can I be better? How can we be better? What am I not seeing? What am I not doing? But then at the end of the day, being confident in your ability to do those things. So again, I'm humbled that we're here, but I know it's been a lot of hard work and a lot of consistent. It's not a fluke. It's not lucky. You know, we've put the time in and worked our tails off. And I like to think we've done things the right way in terms of treating people well and following the rules. And so I'm very satisfied, and it's gratifying to be where we're at right now.
Well, and rightly so. And it's been wonderful to see from afar. I am obviously delighted here on the East Coast that this game is on Friday night at 7:30 Eastern time. So thank you for that. You know, I'd have had the extra cup of coffee for the chance to see you guys play, but this works out very nicely for me as well. And so to our listeners, I cannot stress to you enough, watch Utah play any chance you get. And quite frankly, I think there's every chance you're going to be watching them play for a while and might just be seeing each other coach in Dallas in a couple of weeks. So all to you. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, Howard. I very, very much appreciate it.
Wonderful to see you. Thank you to our listeners for making us your first listen every day. We will be back with you tomorrow talking more about the madness ahead. Until then, I am Howard Megdal, wishing you a wonderful day.
Ogunbowale for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.